This is Highly Black and Flavored, The Return, Episode 4. My name is Kenneth Davis.
And I'm Jakese Crockett.
All right, Jakese, how was your week or week and a half? How did
Week and a half.
everything go? Yeah.
I don't know. Everything's kind of blurred together since, I'm still on leave, but, I'm enjoying myself. Everybody's like, oh, we got a 4-day. So some shenanigans definitely tried to ensue out here, but I was like, canceled all that noise out. And then I'm working with a potential buyer of beats right now, but they being a little
Potential.
iffy on pay. Yeah, potential, because we may work, I may get these ideas out, but they may not get these beats if they don't got this payment. So
He trying to finesse
we
you,
just
clean
gonna
out
have
your
new stuff in
drawers,
there.
bruh.
Shit, they ain't getting nothing out of me. They actually just hit me up too on IG. How's the beat coming along? Nah, we're not just gonna breeze past all that, bruh. I peeped. Like I
Yeah,
said, I had to
I'm
call you
glad.
the other day just to make sure
Yeah.
things were on the up and up. Because I'm like, hold on, red flags is going off right before the last step. You
They
not
said
getting this
send
information
you.
from me.
They said send you a what? Send
He
you a
said
what?
$1,000 minimum check,
Kiss my ass. You ain't getting a goddamn
and then like,
thing.
yo, send me the money back, and then if you don't feel comfortable with that, send it to my video editor. One, I don't know your video editor. I don't know you, so the most you got is my name and my email. That's
You
it.
must think
You
I'm boo boo the fool. I'm glad. See, any classical dummy would have just sent that. Any fool would have just been like, I'm trying to give myself. They would have put that. I'm glad you actually reached out to a friend, somebody who does business, and has to make sure money goes in different places. A
yeah.
functioning adult, a fellow functioning adult. And I was like, yeah, it didn't even take 30 seconds, y'all. I said, this is bullshit. Hey, you set the terms.
Yeah.
You are the person providing the service. You set the terms of how you receive your payment. If you got to
Exactly.
receive that motherfucker in pennies, which
Hey, look,
it's
I'll
petty,
take it in pennies on God.
but there's so many different ways to make sure that your transactions go through for these type of things now that you don't need. I'm suspicious anybody said, "Oh, I need a paper check." Nah, fuck you. How about that?
It's like a check, and
I'm
I'm over
sorry
here
we
like,
had
what
to
the
go
fuck?
there, but yeah, that's nah. We're not playing
Certain
that
things
game.
require checks, but nowadays,
Yeah,
like you're saying, everything's digitalized, so you can make money, you can get payments almost anyway. And then the fact that that's someone's first payment option, and then they didn't acknowledge other options that I put out there. I don't know about all that. So
yeah, that might be a Nigerian prince trying to get you. I'm
hey,
sorry.
they've evolved their schemes. They used to hit you up at 2 a.m. with a crazy paragraphs, capitalized letters in different places, and you kind of sit there and read them. It's like, I wonder who would fall for this. Tons of people. But now, if they evolve in a game like this, oh, they clever. They real
It's a
clever.
lot of phishing schemes and a lot of people trying to get information.
Oh yeah.
Just it's people being weird. People being weird. But yeah, anything else? Anything else? You just been enjoying your time off.
Oh, most def. Everybody's like, oh, when you coming back to work? When I fucking feel like it.
Never. Now when I
Dang.
feel like it, and
They was like, what you
never come
mean? I
back.
was like, look, I'm still on leave. Do not bother me, please. But
I feel the
no, other
same
than
way.
that, I'm just relaxing, just pushing along, honestly. More people are coming through for music, rearranging my room at like 2 in the freaking morning, but I ended up
I
buying like
see
a new
Kirby.
desk and
I see
stuff.
Kirby. Is is locked in
Yeah,
back
I
there.
had to finally get some, bro. Because I tell people when they go to Japan or other places, like, yo, get me a Kirby, get me something, and they'll bring me
Yeah.
back like, I mean, I'm grateful. They brought me back SSJ2 Gohan. That's one of my favorite characters in Dragon Ball. But I got figurines, and you guys can now probably see my pop collection over there. But
Yeah, there's statues and stuff. A lot of their stuff over there is like fairly priced.
oh
Is
yeah,
and it's completely different from the type of stuff that they're selling over here. So you can go over there and get like really well articulated, well detailed statuettes and figures and stuff for like not a
just
lot of money.
just objects in general. Like
Yeah.
I know we're trying to go out there and go to restaurants and stuff like that. So, looking into cutlery, swords, just general things that's not available here. I have a buddy who went out there and his closet was just full of clothes, but they were all customized straight in Japan. I mean, I'm on the spot, honestly. It was ridiculous. I'm like, how do you beat that? You don't really beat something like that.
You don't. You don't. You don't at all. That was that's been my only foreign travel experience was Japan. And I'll tell
Lucky.
you, it was fun. It was fun to kind of see how different our American culture is compared to Japanese culture. But it was also really interesting to see how much we had in common. Like we really do. People are really kind of the same everywhere. Like
Okay.
there's old people, old angry people there.
That's
There's
every country.
you got your youngsters that got on the cool, trendy clothes and whatnot. You got your Karens. They exist in other cultures too.
They just call something
You
different.
yeah. It feels like every culture has the same archetypes of people. I just feel that's the way it is. Like there's only so many, and then of course you have those outliers and those really specific personalities that don't fit neatly into any of those archetypes.
Of
Those are
course.
those are your one-of-one people. Like just people who do things that you can't make up. And some of them live like really good lives and then other ones they're troubled. And a lot of times some of the ones that are the most memorable are the ones who have the troubled lives, unfortunately. So it's always
Yeah.
interesting to kind of look out for those one-of-one personalities in your life. But overall, I actually had a phenomenal week last week.
Oh yeah.
I went to go see one of my friends, two of my friends actually get married. Went to Chicago. I hadn't been to Illinois in 4 years, and man, did I have a ball! I mean, as soon as I got off the plane, as soon as my foot hit the dirt, I was like, 65 to 70 degrees. That's beautiful. Especially like
Oh,
here in Texas, compared to Texas.
weather
Oh,
is
I was living the life. So, I get to the rental area over there in O'Hare and receive some of the best rental service I think I've ever had. Yeah, it was great. It was great.
okay.
And then they asked me, hey, Mr. Davis, come on by. We'll get you taken care of, get your car. They were like, would you be interested in upgrading? We have all of these options. And I'm like, yes. I saw, oh shit. Almost almost fucking lost it. But that's funny. I might or may not take that out. Depends on how I feel.
We keeping it.
Yeah, I gotta keep that. Fuck it. Um, but I went ahead and I got a 2024 Mustang, all black. Ooh, yeah. And then when you turn
Okay.
on and you press
Shoot.
it, when you get in the car and you press the button, it goes doom 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 like a heartbeat. And I'm like, is this fucking Knight Rider? Like, am I getting ready to take off? So even on the 30th of September when I got there, I called up one of my homeboys and I asked him, I say, hey bro, what you got going on? He's like, yeah, I'm at the crib chilling. I'm just trying to get everything, straightened up, nothing too crazy. He's like, what you on? I'm like, hey, let's go ahead, let's pop out the town. Let me get down there. So I get down there probably at like 5 o'clock and we run downtown Chicago and just run through the streets the whole night. And we got a fucking wedding to be at the next day.
Hey, it is what it
Uh,
is.
so yeah, man, we stay out there, we do our thing. A funny moment came when we were actually we spent a lot of the time. We spent about an hour and a half in a bar. It was like a New Orleans kind of Creole food themed restaurant. Not
Ooh.
bad food at all. It was called like the Nola restaurant or something like that. Downtown Chicago or across the street from Wrigley Stadium. We were there. I'm sitting there talking, we just sitting there, me and my friend, we sitting there, we chopping it up, right? And then this older lady, she just walks past and she like grazes my arm and I like stop mid sentence because people, the difference between somebody accidentally bump you and when somebody on that shit.
Yeah, they checking you. They were really trying to
Yeah,
do
so she
something.
rubbed against my arm and I'm like, Why did this brittle old white woman rub up against my arm? Somebody
Oh
please
no,
help.
a white
Why?
woman? Not to sound like a Boondocks episode.
No, but this woman grazed my arm. And then she went over to my friend and not only she like grabbed his shit. And she's like, young man, you smell good. Hey, I'm looking like, hey, bro. And then somebody came in. I think it was either her son or maybe her nephew, grandson. Somebody came in and grabbed her because she was clearly off that shit. Came and grabbed
Hey,
her and
they
had to
they were like,
get
come
her
on,
out.
not again.
I looked at my friend. We was screaming, laughing. We was screaming, laughing.
Yo,
But
oh, the possibilities.
that whole night was cool, and that's actually the most time that I've spent in Chicago ever. The food's amazing. So the next day comes, and I'm still kind of like a little shaky because we've been drinking like the whole day. The wedding was beautiful, and we had the time of our lives. You can check out my Instagram if you want to see the pictures and
Okay,
the
okay.
results and everything. But it was good to be there with all my friends and see all of my people and whatnot. Now the next day we said after the wedding, we said, oh, we all gonna meet up and we're gonna go eat and do all this stuff. Man, look, I might have been the only person that woke up like at 7 o'clock and got up. And I was still like a little hazy. Everybody else didn't start moving around till like noon. Everybody was so
Mm,
tired,
mm,
so
mm.
dead. I was tired myself. I was up, but I was in bed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I decided since I'm in Chicago, I want to do as the Romans do as the Chicagoans do, and I want to eat their food. So I got some chicken from JJ's. I know everybody say,
Okay.
"Oh, you got to go to Uncle Remus, you got to go to Harold's." I want JJ's. That's why I wanted to try JJ's first because JJ's was gonna give me exactly what I want. I wanted that 7-piece lemon pepper
Okay.
that lemon pepper. And no, let me tell you what my fat ass did before. So I didn't get back from the wedding until about 2 o'clock in the morning. About 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. I
Oh
ordered
wow.
a five piece buffalo wing from them, or just a 5-piece wing. Because they don't do all of this. Wings in Chicago is a totally different thing. They actually giving you full wing. In other places they call them jumbo wings, but they giving you
Hmm.
full actual wings, like the wings of the chicken, the actual wings. And they
Where
take
else do it
the
come from?
yeah, I know, right? But they call drumettes and shit wings and flats wings, and that's not atomically correct.
Uh,
Or for
uh,
even for chicken, that's not even really correct. Wings has almost become a general fucking term, which is weird. But we
yeah.
I get a 5-piece the night before, or that morning actually. And I was like, man, and yes, at that early in the morning, I wanted my wings, and they were
Right.
delicious. And then after that, I passed out and I woke up at 7. I walked around and I said, I want more. So then I got a 7-piece lemon pepper with. I also ordered some turkey sliders, but they were like jerk turkey sliders with it, and I also had a pizza puff, and I ate all of that. And then I
That
decided,
sounds
hey,
good.
let me sit down for a second. Let me sit down. And then I was like, oh, this bed feel real good now. Man, I went to
Mm.
sleep. I probably ate that food at about 11:15, 11:30. My ass didn't wake up to about 1 o'clock.
Hey, Itis and the Sandman was running tag team on you. They say, "Yep, we got another
No,
one."
actually, no, I didn't actually wake up until probably about 3 o'clock, 2 or 3 o'clock.
Oh, a
Yeah,
couple
man. I ate
hours.
my, and then after that, I mean, this is the day after the wedding, so I'm trying to figure out like, hey, where everybody at? So then I have to think quickly, and we gotta make my own plans. So then I end up going down probably about the evening time, about 5. I get down there with one of my link up with some of my homeboys, one of my homegirls I haven't seen in a very long time, and we go and we get some seafood, man. And I get a tray, and this is on the same day that my big fat body ass ate all of this stuff that morning, that afternoon actually. High metabolism. I get
Of
a
course.
tray. I get a large tray of seafood, several crab legs, mussels, uh, crawfish, shrimp, the whole deal. I ate the entire thing. I felt beautiful afterwards. I had a mojito and a summer shandy on top of it. I felt
Oh,
beautiful. I felt
oh yeah.
beautiful. That man, look, the food in Chicago is hard to touch it. And Chicagoans have a hard time getting down with other food scenes because of it. I tell all my friends from Chicago, y'all spoiled. Y'all got a lot on y'all plate and y'all spoiled. But overall, man, I had a great time and then I ended up getting back and whatnot. It's probably one of my favorite vacations, simply because there wasn't any restraints. I didn't check my email at work at all. At all.
Nice.
And it just felt good to kind of let back. And then I got back and I went back to work on a Friday. And then next day was the weekend. And
Oh yeah,
then
you was telling me that.
yeah. So all that's good. But overall, everything's holding up well. I'm looking forward to my next vacation. And hey, to our listeners, to everybody out there, I'm gonna tell you this right now. It don't matter how long you work, those hours at look, that job, that's cool. But you gotta go see your people. Check in
Oh
with your
yeah.
people. Don't just talk. It's cool to talk with them over the phone, but you got to go see your people. I went 16 years. I don't and a lot of this, some of this falls on me. Some of it falls on the relationship, just how things just work out in my family. I hadn't seen my grandmama in 16 years in person. I hadn't
Oof.
seen my grandmama in 16 years. That's really unexcusable. That's something I can never forgive myself for. And then when I go see her, it's under the unfortunate circumstances of my grandfather having passed away recently. So, I wish I could have seen both of them under better circumstance. And I had been trying to visit earlier, but, you know, it could have been earlier. There's other times where I went other places and was doing other things and I could have been visiting them. So with
Yeah.
that, with seeing my friend, I hadn't seen any of my friends from out there from the Midwest in 4 years. The pandemic played a part in that and everybody got their own life, but you gotta find some time to go see them people. Because it felt like no time had passed, but when we was sitting there talking with each other, it just felt like a relief, and it was beautiful to feel
Yeah.
that. I would say this is the vacation that probably I was the most emotionally moved by, and that's why I think it means so much.
Yeah,
But
I
with
believe
that being
physical
said,
relationships do a lot better for your mental health. Like you were saying, it's cool to
mhm,
be on the phone with your homies, your loved ones and everything. But there's a noticeable feeling of like emptiness when you don't actually see them in a while. So when you actually go back and visit them, it just does wonders for your mental health, in my opinion. And you always got to make time for them. Uh, it's hard for me, especially being in Hawaii. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not paying $700 to $800 just
that's
to go
another
back to
thing
the
too.
East Coast. If
Spend that money.
halfway, I gotta pay 500 just to go to California. I'm not doing it. I'm sorry. Y'all gonna have to catch me when I come back in Conus, technically, but still in the
Yeah,
states. It is what it
just not
is.
on the mainland.
Yeah.
Mhm. I totally
But I
get
mean,
that.
some people have come out here recently, so I'm like, hey, y'all came out to Hawaii. I'll stop by. I'll show you what I got if I'm not at work, and we'll keep it pushing.
Yeah. Now, as we transition, Mr. Aubrey Graham recently released his new album, For All the Dogs. I've given it a listen. You given it a listen. Uh,
Yes, sir.
I want to know your thoughts. How are you feeling about this album? And where do you think this sits amongst his works of the
Okay,
albums
so
in playlists and all the other shit he's released?
okay, so I was listening to his newest album while I was doing my hair. I was brushing my hair, so it was part of just my morning routine. You have your morning routine, you listen to music or do whatever, and something was ringing in my head telling me Drake just dropped something. And I was like, I'm not usually one to go to a certain artist and listen to them just in general at this point, how I listen to music. Usually, if somebody recommends me something, I'll add to my playlist, listen to it, and then it'll probably become part of the rotation. But I was like, you know what? It's new. Let me give it a listen. I'll be honest. This one isn't as memorable on the first listen through as other artists or other artworks that he's had, in my opinion. And I'm probably gonna have to give it another listen through, just as I normally do. But I felt there was it felt, how do you say it? Not like lackadaisical. It was just some things were meh really in there. It was like energies were off. There wasn't a lot of syncopation between the artists on certain songs. Like he had some cool features on there, like Yeet and everybody else on there, but it's like you it just wasn't all the way there on that first go through. And then we all know what happens when Drake drops something. The internet goes crazy. It's either they go crazy in a good sense or they are completely flaming him.
It's either
And
the truth or
right now,
trash.
yeah, right now, they are on this man's noggin. There is no rest from him. I saw a meme. It was the 21 song on it. It was the 21 Savage song, and one of Drake's ad libs or whatever. We had came into the song like he was just a child, just joining in the conversation, cutting everybody off, and I'm like, it doesn't end. It doesn't end. People are gonna love it or hate it from this man.
It never stops. It never stops, does it? Now,
Zero.
for me, and as I said before, I give like a solid like breakdown and opinion of this. Really, before I really speak to anyone, this us talking about this here is for initial thoughts only.
Right.
Because I hate when people jump out the window and give these really really extreme opinions of a project, and they hadn't really sit down, and you really got to listen to an album twice in order to see, or sometimes even more, to really see all of the nuances within an album. Now,
Of
with that
course.
being said, this is somebody who has probably listened to just about every main release Drake has released, on top of knowing a lot of his B cut records. This is his least cohesive work he has released yet. This doesn't, none of these songs, this feels like an assortment of songs that he just kind of threw in there. I would almost say the B-side compilation he released a couple of years ago
Right.
was better than this overall. And don't get me wrong, there's actually a couple of songs, like the song he's got with SZA and Sexy Red. While that's not necessarily for me, I'm not the key demographic for that record, I can see that it's a fun song. It's
Yeah.
a fun song. So like I don't mind it. Even having SZA on Slime, what is it? Slime You Out.
Yeah. Slime you out.
She's a well needed feature on that song. She probably saved that song. Having J. Cole on First Person Shooter.
Oh, okay. No, that one. All right.
Yeah.
That one got me
Yeah.
sweating, bro. That one.
It's a
That one is
notable
crazy.
it's a notable feature. Cole showed up to do exactly what he's supposed to do. He did it.
Oh
The,
yeah. There is no debate.
some of the other songs on here, I can't, off the top of my head, I'd have to go, but I got to give it that second listen to see what some of those. There's some slower songs on here that I thought were all right, but
To really take in it all.
some of them are B side, not even really good B sides either. They're just kind of filler songs. There's some hard skips on this album, unfortunately, but I would probably say, let's see. Let me look through the playlist right now.
He's searching for his favorites.
No, I'm actually, because I kind of already had, but there was one song. I'm actually doing the opposite. I'm looking for the song that I thought was actually one of the worst.
Hater
Gently,
alert.
Gently, featuring Bad Bunny. What the fuck
Oh,
was that? What the
I played
fuck
that at a
was
party
that?
last night. I was
Which,
expecting. I
and
was
it's
like, "This
not a
got Bad
horrible.
Bunny on it."
It's not a horrible song, but I'm just like, hey Drake,
You
I
expected
clearly,
more. You feel like
man,
more was supposed to be on that.
I see what you're. This is the second Bad Bunny collaboration you done had, and it's like the third OVO collaboration with Bad Bunny. So I see what you're trying to do. You're not slick. That's what makes this. that song really made this album feel like, hey, this was just an assortment of shit that he's been working on for a while. And I don't feel like this was all made with a cohesive vision. It
Right.
doesn't feel uniform. This
And
feels
I
this feels less like a playlist than More Life. More Life was at least, it kind of had a little bit of fusion of, okay, you got some UK artists, you got the UK drill thing going on, you got a little bit of that Caribbean flavor, you got a little bit of that, like him being from Canada, of course, there's a lot of people from the islands out there. So that makes sense. Culturally for him, that makes sense. Him trying to kind of open people's ear up to different rappers of a different sound. Cool. I don't mind
oh
that at
yeah.
all. But this feels like somewhat of a shameless attempt to just kind of keep the ears of what is the most popular right now. And it does not make for a great album,
Yeah.
unfortunately. I don't feel, I didn't hate this, but
No, not by
I
any
didn't
means.
I didn't really like it either.
Like I
I'm
said, we're
grossly
giving it another
indifferent.
listen.
Now,
Yeah.
I do have a friend, and I will name drop him just so he can see this. And
Oh
also
yeah, let's hear it.
he's been on the podcast before. My friend Justin. We were going back and
Oh,
forth yesterday. And I'm more in agreement with him than he probably realizes. But he was fucking, there was no compromise from him at all. He fucking hated this. And I guarantee, and he struggled to get through it once. He struggled to get through it once. He tried to listen to it 3 times and he just couldn't do
oh
it.
no.
He just couldn't do it. And that's okay. That's okay. We all take in media different, and we all listen to music completely different. I'm a person who will sit down and listen to hours and hours of music. I'm a person, and that's why it's always like cool to talk to one of my younger brothers about music, my brother Kendall, because me and Kendall can talk about really weird, specific aspects of different parts of music in different artists, like stuff that's like really, really out there that you wouldn't really expect us to be talking about and listening. You know, we all ingest this stuff different, so we'll all
Of
have
course.
our opinions. But Justin wasn't having it. He was like, I'm fucking tired of this. And I've known him for a long time. He's like, I am tired of this. Like I'm
He's
just
fed up.
not. He's like, bro, I haven't felt any inspiration from this man's music since Views. And that was in 2016.
Golly,
For
that is
me, I think Drake's music kind of started to teeter a little bit after Scorpion. And even to
right
me,
now
Scorpion's not a very strong album. There's songs I like on it
strong
for
one.
sure, but I don't think it's a strong or memorable album at all. At all.
Yeah,
Despite the
yeah.
fact
I
that
mean, speaking on that
afterwards
is
he has released a lot of singles, a lot and even albums. I would even say I enjoyed Her Loss more than this, and I'll even jump out the window and say while
her loss was good.
I'm not necessarily the key demographic of Honestly Nevermind, I can respect that album and I can respect him for trying to do something different and having a cohesive vision. Oh shit, almost happened again.
Right.
Almost
Yes.
for having a cohesive vision. That's fine. But this shit was all over the place. And
And you know
I
who got
hope,
had a word in about this, right?
yeah. I don't, and
You already know who
yeah,
had to
yeah.
say something about this.
This that man's crying in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like as you said, this wasn't very cohesive on to listen through because as I was listening to it, it wasn't anything that made me kind of stop my routine or like turn around and look at my phone like, oh, that's a banger, that's a hit. It's more like it just kind of wandered into the background as I was listening to it. So that it really didn't have any initial shock value or surprising sounds to it. So we've all seen on the internet, we all know who's going to open their mouth about Drake, Mr. Joe Budden. And it was like a whole debate about it. And I was like, ugh. I had to give it a
That was
little
the
look
next
through. I had to
point.
give it a little skim. I had to
I have it here
give it a
for
little
you.
skim.
I have it here for you.
Oh yeah, let's
So
hear it.
for the listeners, the overall reception for this album has been mixed to negative. Of course, there have been some people who have really, really enjoyed it, and that's fine. That's okay. I hope people take more enjoyment from this album, than I did, from what Jakese might have taken from it, and from what my friend Justin took from it, because Justin really didn't like it. I would have had him on the show, but he's probably working right now. He's gonna laugh like a motherfucker when he sees this. Let me pull it up right now. All right. So it is as follows. So responding to Joe Budden's criticism of his new album For All the Dogs, Mr. Champagne Poppy said the following: "You have failed at music. You left it behind to do what you are doing in this clip, because this is what actually pays your bills. For any artist watching this, just remember you are watching a failure give their opinion of his idea of a recipe for success. A quitter. A quitter. Give their opinion of how to achieve longevity. You switch careers because the things that pop into your brain had you broke living check to check." And see, he didn't spell check as in CHECK. He spelled it CHEQUE. Check to check.
And he put a little fancy on it.
He put that Canadian, that fucking Springland on there. You switch careers because the things that pop up in your brain had you broke living check to check, and the raps you write had 450 men showing up to your shows in dusty. Oh, wait a minute. I just had a Aniche? Yeah, Aniche. Yeah, I'm gonna get roasted for that shit. But I forgot
No,
that's
yeah,
how
you're fine.
I forgot how that shit was actually. I almost had a stroke for this for a second. That's how that shit's Aniche. Nobody gives a fuck because no one's wearing a Nietzsche, Jane. So fuck a Nietzsche. Please, to any artist that's doing what they feel is right, don't let opinions affect your mindset after the fact. This guy is the poster child of frustration and surrendering. He might be the poster child of frustration.
Oh, most definitely.
Surrendering is fucking crazy.
Hey, this man don't quit. I don't know what y'all talking about.
You retired and we never hung up your jersey. We don't even remember your number. Oh my God.
No, that was crazy.
We know you for doing this. You withdrew from rap not because you accomplished all of your needs. It's because it wasn't working for you. I never want anybody in this generation to think that the whole everybody's entitled to their opinion is a real thing. Whoa. This is a man projecting his own self-hate and the fact I did and continue to do everything he wanted to do himself. If you need to put it simple, I own a 767. He owns a modest house in the 973 and flies first class on special occasions. That's petty.
That
That's petty
whole
than a motherfucker.
thing was crazy.
And then Joe Budden responds, "You'll grow up sooner or later. Father Time is undefeated."
You kind of can't argue with both of them. I mean, one was out of pocket, the other it's just sides to this. And oh my god, as I was scrolling through that, I laughed. I'm not gonna lie, I laughed pretty hard reading Drake's response. But then, as he said, you'll get older, and it seems that he was saying that Drake is still making music for that younger crowd. He wants to hear music for, people his age. He's 36, 37, somewhere in there. And
Drake
he
or
wants
Joe Budden?
Drake.
Yeah, I was about to say, because Joe's closer to 50.
Yeah. And then it was like he wants to hear music that's being made for, people more around his age. But it's like, it's that demographic thing again too. You kind of have to think who's going to be his biggest consumer when it comes to who's listening, who's picking it up, who's streaming it, who's doing whatever with his content. So
That's a
there's valid
great point.
points.
Which also leads us to look at this rollout and how this has been executed. So even a better question to ask. How do you feel about his appearance and his overall conduct and how he entered this rollout? Because people talk about his nails and his ridiculous fucking hairstyle with the barrettes and
As they try to say, what is it? Any publicity is there's no such thing as bad publicity. I'm like,
but
he does.
that's what makes it aggravating because he's literally
Probably because
doing it
someone
just
of
for
his
attention.
it's a formula. It works. You really can't knock him for it. But it's
Now,
like,
I don't care about the nails. That's
oh,
neither here. I clear
uh,
coat my nails. I don't give a fuck.
I
It's
mean, that's all
that's
me
something.
and you
It's
can do. Come on now,
2023,
hold on.
right? That's all I can do in accordance
Hey,
with the
because if I
regulation.
had freedom, uh,
I do
might
whatever
be.
I want. Shit. But
For real.
that's I don't care about that. I'm not the type of person that there's no phobias around here, baby. Ain't no phobias around here. We don't press pause. We resume. That's right.
Yeah, I'm gonna put that on the shirt. So I'm like, pause. No. We don't press
Nah,
pause right here. We resume.
in the
Oh,
words of
that's
Jack, in the words of Jack Harlow, resume. But
yeah.
yeah. Overall, as just that's something. It's the hair that's the problem because Drake has always been fairly on point with his hair, but I can tell he's really leaning into the Timbs and the super baggy pants and the ridiculous hair. This is what this era looks like for him. This is what this looks like. This is gonna be a coda mark on this album's rollout in this era of Drake. This is what that's gonna look like. Because outside of that, the Scorpion era was very, very like a very distinctive him and a more of a
Right.
refinement. Like Drake at every rollout has a certain style, a certain look. Um, and then like after maybe her loss, who knows that phase may be bled into this because this is what Drake is really leaning into, and I'll honestly, all of those other phases and all of those other looks are kind of just variations and extensions of Scorpion Drake. Because back then, they thought he was done. For the first time, I think he didn't have a song in like the top 100 or something crazy like that. It was either the top 100 or like the top 20. And people was like, is this the end of Drake? And then he dropped God's Plan. And then
Oh
he
yeah,
been
yeah, yeah. God's plan came out of almost left field for some people, and that thing went crazy.
and he just been running it the fuck up since then. But this is a notable chink in his armor. Do you think this is going to because he's 36 now? He's 30, and look at a lot of rappers who have the bodies of work that he has, who have the discography and the
Right.
experience in his particular field. Do you think this might be a little bit of a chink in his legacy? Do you think he has another classic album in him?
I think the time will tell us honestly, because he's been in the game for so long. So obviously he knows something. There's probably someone in his ear with, all right, you should do this, you should do that. And I kind of feel like this one was he had a little bit too many yes men on it. But what I think he's trying to do is kind of setting the mold, kind of setting that picture and standard for just, all right, I'm gonna try this, I'm gonna try this, I'm gonna try this and see what happens. But as for it being a chink in his armor or just, his legacy or however they're gonna write down and remember Drake, it might be a little smidge, it might be a little smudge or something on there, but I don't think it's gonna be something we're like, oh, you remember he made this, so I don't validate anything anyone has to say about Drake as an artist. And I'm like, yeah, that's really not gonna fly because there's so many more hits and memorable songs that Drake has put out that this is probably just gonna wash over, honestly. Because whenever he brings his next project out, it's just gonna get pushed aside.
That's fair. And I think honestly Drake has built an entire point in his maybe his entire career off of giving people assists. You know, somebody made the argument. I heard somebody say Drake is like one of the best A&R people because he gives so many looks to. He's helped build up a lot of folks' careers.
Being an A&R is
A lot of talents, a
huge.
lot of rappers wouldn't have had the same big moments if they didn't get that Drake feature. And
Mm-hmm.
Drake's also while doing that he's built the reputation for that because he and a lot of people try to see this as a downside, a down point. It's a down point now because of what we're looking at with his new album. But Drake has definitely been a wave rider. But it's made sense for him to ride the wave in order for him to stay in relevant ears and continue his success. And it's worked. Most of the songs have been hot, you know.
Yeah.
There's a few duds here and there, but for the most part, it has worked and it's helped launch a lot of careers into the stratosphere. And he's helped build up some teams and some alliances for features that people always look forward to. A Drake and Future feature people always look forward to. A
Yeah.
21 and Drake feature people always look forward to. So
21 was a little tired this feature, but it's okay.
well, that's because they didn't did a whole damn album. I believe that song was probably from those sessions. I don't think
It
I don't
very
think
well
that
could have been.
song, unless I look into the liner notes of it, I don't think that song was brand new. That man was probably
Yeah.
tired. He asked in 21, can you do something for me? What the fuck else do you want? I didn't gave you all that I got. I didn't gave you all. But overall, I'm not gonna give the album a rating. I'm just gonna it's more Drake. It's more Drake, and it's not the best of his discography. And to me, out of all of his albums, this is definitely on the back half of his discography. But
Most
don't
def.
let's not look at this as a Drake issue. This will happen to any rapper that does not fall, or any artist really, that doesn't fall into the security of knowing not just knowing their sound, but having not trying to feed into the current trends of music.
Yeah.
Jay-Z Jay-Z has sustained his career because he continued to successfully reinvent himself so many times and stay on his own beat and his own path. He stayed in a certain area of
He
rap
stayed,
music
yeah.
so where like the music could change, the beat could change, the sound could change, but
Jay-Z himself.
his style never changed. That's always something
And
that's been
there's nothing
consistent.
wrong with it.
Yeah. Drake has been
Don't forget
from
about the GOAT
Tennessee.
Lil Wayne.
Drake has been from Tennessee, Canada, from the UK. This man was speaking of Spank, he was singing on Afro beats. This man had been about every continent in the last 5 years on a record. Man, look, I get it.
Getting culture.
He's an international superstar. He's with him being Canadian. Canada is a very, very like diverse place, and there's a lot of
It
different
is.
cultures. And he's been going back between America and between Canada like his whole life. So like I can't blame him for having that multicultural approach to some things, but his music hasn't been like that. Drake's a
Right.
black man. He's he's a black man. Shut up. He is biracial, but he's a black man. He's in his. If you don't know if you don't know who his family is, you need to look at who Dennis and Larry Graham are.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna keep that to myself. I'm
he,
gonna keep that one to myself.
you don't know who Dennis Graham is, or
No,
Larry Graham.
no,
Do you know,
I was gonna say
have you ever
something.
heard of the techniques slapping bass? Oh no, this is gonna go left. This is gonna go left. So yeah, this is the time to kindly come to a close. Overall, y'all go listen to the album, even if you sit here and listen to our black asses talk about this. Go listen to it for yourself and craft your own opinion. We're only here to kind of give you an idea of what you're gonna hear.
Give you a
It's
nudge.
all over. I'm gonna be honest, be real honest. The last thing I'm gonna say about it, it's kind of all over the place. It's all over the place, and expect that. You might find some fun stuff here and there, but you might not be listening to this in a week to 2 weeks. You're going to move on to something else. Go listen to Tizo Touchdowns.
You might pull
That's
a few
fine.
songs in rotation, but that's it. Not the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not going to be for everybody. But Mr. Crockett, tell the people where you can find where you can where they can find you at. I might be
They
having a
can
stroke.
find
I
me
didn't hit the
on
mic like 6 fucking times. I might not
they
be
can find
okay.
me at Twitch at Mystic Impact, or you can find me on IG at KODB_prod. You can find me on Apple Music, Spotify, SoundCloud, and under KODB
MySpace.
Productions. Yeah. You know what's crazy? I still have a MySpace. I remember like 2010, I logged back in. I was like, Jack Black owns MySpace? Huh. And then that was it. That was all I did with that new MySpace
Log off.
information. I was like, I don't.
Log off. You don't even want to know.
Yeah.
Don't even
But
want to
you
know.
can find me in a plethora of places, but Ken here will let you know where to find him and the whole collective group.
All right. So if you want to find more of what we do and see, talk to us on social media, you can find us on Facebook at Highly Black and Flavored. I'm all fucked up. I damn near want to delete this whole episode. Highly Black and Flavored. You can also find us on Instagram at Highly Black and Flavored. You can find us on Twitter at HBAF Network. That is HBAFNETR. Damn, I done fucked that all up. I don't care. Y'all know how to spell network. I'm all over the place. But more
They'll see
importantly,
it.
if you want to find me, my personal on Instagram, you can find me at Savad Nakatre. That is SIVAD_NEKATRE. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We'll catch y'all maybe next week, possibly next week. If not next week, we'll catch y'all later on in the month. But y'all have a nice day. We're going to go and get through it. Catch y'all later.
Happy Spooky Month.
Yeah.